Hello, guys. What if I told you that some of the most fundamental things that you believe about Indian politics, Indian constitution, and democracy are total myths? Today, we are stripping away political propaganda and fake news to break down seven massive political myths most Indians still believe. So grab a cup of chai, coffee, or anything because by myth number five, your entire perspective on how a nation run is going to shift. Let's start with the big one. How many times have you heard someone say that Hindi is our national language, so you must speak it? But here's a cold legal reality: India does not have any national language. So, back in 1945, when the framers of our constitution actually sat down to decide this, the debate almost tore the assembly apart. Why? Because leaders from northern states wanted Hindi, and leaders from southern and eastern argued that imposing one language would marginalize millions of citizens. So, to protect the incredible soul of our diversity, they reached a brilliant compromise, which is known as the Munshi Ainar formula. So, so under Article 343, Hindi in Devanagari script was declared as an official language, which means Raj Bhasha, and English alongside for central government administration, administrative work. So it is not a national language, not a Rashtra. The constitution recognizes 22 languages in 8th schedule: Tamil, Bengali, Marathi, Gujarati, and Kannada. So they all stand on equal national footing. Calling Hindi as the sole national language isn't just legally wrong, it just ignores the constitutional promises that is made to each and every Indian. Now let's go to our myth number two. So the myth number two is that Nota has the power to cancel an election. So every election seasons, millions of frustrated voters they share posts saying that if Nota gets the highest votes, the election gets cancelled and the candidates are banned. It sounds like the ultimate democratic weapon, right? A way to reject corrupt politicians. I had to break it to you, but in Indian general elections, Nota is practically a phantom vote. So, what really happens is that, for example, if there are 100 total votes and Nota gets 99 votes, and candidate A has only gotten one vote, right? So that candidate one that just got one vote will be highlighted with a green check mark. So what basically happens is that under the first past the post system in India, even if Nota gets 99% of the votes in a constituency, the candidate who gets that remaining single vote wins the election, wins the seat. While Nota actually, gives voter a constitutional right to express dissatisfaction without compromising any secrecy, it currently carries zero power to reject candidates, or in general to force a re-poll in Lok Sabha or assembly elections. It is a symbolic protest, not a vote cancelling button. Now, myth number three is that the Indian constitution is just a copy paste job. So, critics often they sneer and call our constitution a bag of borrowings, a mere document that is copy pasted from UK, US, and Ireland. This myth completely belittles the legendary sacrifices made by the men and women who built our modern India. So basically, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar explicitly addressed this on the floor of the assembly. He said that the only thing, if there can be, in any constitution framed so late in the day, are the variations made to remove the faults and to accommodate it to the needs of the country. The framers didn't just copy pasted the Western ideas, they re engineered them for a country emerging from 200 years of colonial plunder, rampant illiteracy, deep caste discrimination, and above all, partition. Gave universal adult suffrage to every single citizen from day one. Myth number 4, guys, the president of India is just a powerless rubber stamp. Now, because the prime minister, leads the government, people, generally assume that the president of India is just a ceremonial figure who signs paper and hosts foreign dignitaries. But this is actually not true at all. But this is actually not true. Is the president a rubber stamp? Yes, most of the time by design. But during a political crisis, the president holds the ultimate key to the republic. Here are some of the powers that president actually hold. The first one is pocket veto. A president can withhold assent to a non-money bill indefinitely by simply putting it in their pocket, famously did in 1986 by President Zail Singh with the Post Office Bill. Second is hung parliaments. When no party wins a majority, the president uses personal discretion to decide who gets the first chance to form the government. That decision alone actually can shape the history of India. Third one is sending bills back. The president can return a bill to the parliament for reconsideration, forcing a government to face public scrutiny. Now, fifth myth is that your MP or MLA should fix your local potholes or garbages. So when a road near your house breaks, who do you blame? Your MP or your MLA? This misunderstanding is precisely why a local infrastructure in Indian cities and villages stays broken. Under the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, local civic infrastructure was handed to municipal corporations and gram panchayats. Your MP's job in New Delhi is to debate national legislation and union budgets. Your MLA's job in the state capital is state policy and law enforcement. Your ward corporator or councillor is actually the person funded and mandated to fix that pothole. When we hold MPs accountable for sewage lines and ignore local municipal elections, we break that chain of accountability. Myth number 6 is that the prime minister can pass any law or change the constitution at will. So, when a government wins a massive electoral victory, people often fear that they can rewrite the entire constitution tomorrow. So, in 1973, a landmark legal battle, the famous Keswanand Bharti case, changed the Indian democracy forever. The Supreme Court ruled that while the Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution, it cannot touch or destroy the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, what is the basic structure of the Constitution? First is judicial independence. Second is secular character of the state. Free and fair election. The separation of powers. Even if a prime minister wins 100% of the seats in parliament, they cannot legally turn India into a monarchy or abolish the Supreme Court. The basic structure doctrine is an impenetrable shield protecting the Indian Republic. Myth number 7 is that voting is a mandatory duty or else you will lose your benefit. So what happens is before every election, rumors circulate on messaging apps, on social medias that non-voters will have their bank accounts frozen or lose welfare schemes, etc., etc. So let's clear this up. In India, voting is a democratic right, not a legal compulsion. So what happens is under Article 326 of the Constitution, we have the right to register and vote. While citizens are encouraged to exercise this franchise right as a civic responsibility, Indian law explicitly protects the right to refrain from voting. You cannot be penalized or fined or stripped away of any right if you choose to not vote. So, guys, this was it. At the end, I would like to conclude by saying that knowledge is actually power. Democracy actually does not collapse with bad laws alone. It actually falters when the people when we as citizen does not understand how our system works. When we believe myths, we actually hold wrong people accountable, spread divisions all over, and surrender our power as citizen. Which of these 7 myths surprised you the most? Forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell if you want to keep breaking down the real stories, the real myths, everything that's happening in politics right now. So I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.